Alright, this is John Colo at DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and what we're going to do today for you guys is actually compare two different juicers on the market. We got the Pure Juicer over on this side. This is a two-stage hydraulic press. Blows away all other hydraulic presses, which there's only one on the market at this time. And we're going to go ahead and compare that to the Omega VSJ843. Now you might be thinking, John, this is an unfair comparison, man. Like, the machine over here, it's like 5, maybe 6 times more expensive than this guy. Of course, this guy's gonna kick ass over that one, right? And, you know, and if you look at manufacturers' websites, every different manufacturer, whether it's a Pure juicer manufacturer or Omega, you know, they're gonna wanna try to sell you that their juicer's the best. Now, in my opinion, you know, the best juicer for you is not necessarily the most expensive. Does everybody... You know, would the best car for everybody be like a Lamborghini, one of those $1 million cars that like goes really fast? I'm sure we'd all enjoy one of those. But if you got kids, or you know, you got to haul around your construction stuff, you're a contractor and you got to put stuff in the back to haul around, it's not going to be functional unless you got guys working for you, right? But anyways, the job that I see myself doing is that I want to fit you guys with the proper juicer. You know, I like to share with you guys the pros and the cons, and there's nobody virtually else doing this with the wide variety of experience that I have, you know, being into juicing now for the last 21 years. Almost every day in my lifestyle. And I have the opportunity to visit factories and go to trade shows and even play with these juicers to learn the ins and the outs, the pros and the cons. And that's simply what I'm here to share with you guys today. And the next thing I want to say is that, you know, juicers, they're not some miraculous device, right? What they are, they're just simply a tool, much like a screwdriver, you know, much like a nice outfit if you're a girl. Wait, is that a device? Is that a tool? I don't know. A tool to get men, maybe. A tool to look good? I don't know. But they're just a tool, and this is the tool. The juicers are tools that allow you to eat more fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. And of course, you don't need the tool. You don't need a tool to, you know, undo a screw. You could do it with a, you know, your fingers maybe if it's not screwed in that tight. But in most cases, it won't work. And, you know, you don't need these tools to include more fruits and vegetables in your diet. You could just simply do that. You could eat more fruits, eat more vegetables. The problem arises that most people just can't eat the volume of the vegetables that are needed, especially things like the leafy green vegetables that are very important for us. You couldn't just sit there and eat a pound of spinach, for example, but you could easily put a pound of spinach through the juicer and get about a cup of juice, which you can easily drink down, or even something like carrots. You probably couldn't sit there and eat a pound of carrots, and even if you did, you wouldn't get optimal digestion out of those carrots because, you know, even if you chew on the carrots, most people don't chew well enough. You should chew your food into a mush. But even if you did, you know, your body's not 100% efficient at pulling the nutrition out of the mush that you eat. Some of it's going to go by, and, you know, that's basically wasted food. And when you're paying expensive, you know, money or good money for organic produce, you know, you're wasting some. So when it's in the juice form, your body's much more efficient at extracting the nutrition out without the fiber, you know, without the insoluble fiber. And with all juicers, it does leave the soluble fiber because it is soluble in water. And some juicers, you know, will actually leave some insoluble fiber in the juice as well. So yeah, so to me, these machines are tools, and I want you guys to pick the right tool for the right job, and that varies. And this depends on your specific needs, so I would encourage you guys to figure out your specific needs. You know, I know there's certain therapy programs that recommend a 2-stage press, and you know, for the longest time, the 2-stage press, and even still today, it's touted as like the best juicer. And what I want to show in this episode is that it's always not the best. In many cases, it is the best, you know. But the other thing that I'd like to point out is that this style machine was designed in the 1930s. While this is the latest advance in 2-stage hydraulic press juicers, I think juicing technology has, you know, greatly increased since the 1930s, and there's new style juicers that weren't around when this was originally invented that are now even superior to a press. You know, so for example, when the press came out, they had like they compared the juice with a press. to like a centrifugal ejection and a champion juicer. And of course, the press made more juice, made higher quality juice based on the nutrition that was tested in the juice, which was, I think they tested like vitamins and minerals primarily. But since that time, they've come out with other juicers and other juicer manufacturers, such as Slow Juice manufacturer that makes the twin gear juicer, compared the juice that they made with the twin gear juicer and this machine. And it's not always black and white. We always want the answer. John, what's the juicer to buy? Well, there's so many different factors that you guys should consider when buying a juicer. I'll put a link down below where I actually just go into some of the differences between the machines. I don't really want to get into a lot of that right now. But, there's certain machines that actually make a higher quality juice than even this machine, in certain nutrients. And so, and the main thing, let's just get into the pros and cons real quick. I mean, this guy is about 5 to 6 times this guy. So, I mean, if you're rich, then you can even afford this, great. And if you can't, you might just want to get this one. And even though this one is expensive and it's like all stainless steel, all the food contact parts except for the pusher and the nylon press cloths that you will be using in most cases to press out your juice. I mean, it's 65 pounds. It's a nice, heavy, durable machine, not easily to travel with. This one's a lot lighter, can easily travel with. This one, the pressing operation is great. I love that a lot. But some of the downsides of the press is, number one, the first step, which is a triturating side. It basically grinds up the produce because you can't just put a whole carrot in here. It runs at like 3,500 RPMs, which is 80 times faster than the Omega VSJ that runs at 43 RPMs, right? And in my opinion, based on information I've seen and studies I've seen, the higher the RPM, the higher the oxidative damage to the food, the lower the phytonutrients and phytochemicals. And it's the phytonutrients and phytochemicals that are the most important thing to me in the juice. It's not the vitamins, it's not the minerals, although trace minerals are very important. It's the phytochemicals, because these are the anti-disease compounds that are in the foods. So yeah, so that runs at a high speed. Then you put it under here, and then you press your pulp out in a nylon press cloth. Now this is a optimally designed nylon press cloth, so you're going to get higher yields. But the thing to remember is that when you put the pulp in here and it presses it out, everything that comes through the press cloth, because the press cloth, has pores in it, and it lets the juice and the liquid out, but it retains all the fiber. So, there's some people that say, oh, you should blend things because you get all the fiber. Well, there's problems with blending too, and blending you do get fiber, which actually, I'm not going to even get into that. Check my other videos on blending versus juicing. But when you keep the fiber in there, there may be nutrition that's not getting through the holes, basically. It's sticking around with the fiber that you're not getting in the juice that are not water soluble. So when you're using a slow juicer such as this with a stainless steel screen in there, the hole size is infinitely larger than the nylon cloth here. So that's going to let a bit more fiber through, including the insoluble fiber and nutrients that will go along with it. So the classic example is when I juice like a pineapple in this machine, a pineapple in here, in this machine, it's a lot more clear. And yes, I'm not going to say that it doesn't taste good. It tastes the best out of any juice I've tasted because it's so fine and crisp and clear. And in this, it's a little more, darker color, which to me means more phytochemicals, phytonutrients, and it has a little bit more, I want to say pulp because this makes a pretty pulp-free juice, but it's a little bit more texture in your mouth, right? And those are pros and cons. So, I mean, those are the main cons of this guy. The main, pro of this guy is that it's inexpensive. In my opinion, if you got to clean both sides of this machine, including the triturator and the press with the press cloth, this guy is easier to clean. This guy takes me about 3 minutes to clean. Now, if you're just cleaning the press side, like I'll be doing today, yeah, it's probably comparable. Cleaning out a press cloth, not one of my favorite things to do. I'd much rather personally clean a stainless steel screen. And the other thing that I want to mention is that depending on the kind of produce you want to juice, certain one of these machines will do it better than the other. And it's not always cut and dry, right? Which juicer will produce more yield on everything? I mean, it's on certain things. It is going to beat this guy. So like sprouts, this guy's going to win. On certain fruits, this guy's going to win. On leafy greens, this guy's probably going to win. And on other things like carrots, this guy is going to blow away that guy. So if you're doing like carrots and apples, you want the highest yield, and yield's your only consideration, right? Then you want to go with this guy. So not always cut and dry, and I'm going to make a series of these videos comparing the pure juicer to other slow juicers and try to go over the pros and cons, right? So yeah, I mean, those are some of the basics, and yeah, I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get into our juice off today. And what I'll be juicing today is one of the most important antioxidant rich fruits that I believe you guys should be consuming in your diet as often as you can, and that's the good old-fashioned pomegranate. Alright, so now I'm back and we got the pomegranates ready to juice, and there's all different varieties of pomegranates. You guys might have seen like pomegranates in your store. You buy it, you cut it open, and you got these little dark red areoles in there. And you know, most times when you buy pomegranates, you're getting the wonderful variety. So like if you go to the store and get apples, you get Granny Smith apples, Red Delicious apples, Fuji apples, Braeburn apples, you know, all different kinds of apples, and they're each a little bit different. Well, they have different kinds of pomegranates, so I'm blessed today to have a number of pomegranates mixed up in here so you guys can see the different different areoles in there. Some are actually white, some are pink, some are like nice and dark. I do encourage you guys to get the dark areoles whenever you can. They generally have more antioxidants than the lighter ones, but the lighter ones are actually sweeter, so they taste better when you eat them. So before I get into the juice off, I did explain how the pure juicer works. Basically, you got to grind everything up and then you put it in the press. Certain fruits don't really need to be ground up before you put it in the press. They could just be pressed out, like the pomegranates today, or things like oranges and pineapples. Over on the VSJ side, though, I didn't really explain how this machine works. So how this works is you have a feed chute. So you're going to put the produce in the feed chute. It's going to go down the feed chute and then enter in and hit this auger here. This auger is spinning around at low speed compared to the, you know, high speed, 80 times faster over there. And this guy runs at 43 RPMs, and as you put it in, it basically takes the produce and it starts to crush and squeeze out the juice. So on the initial crush, there's two kind of like wings here, or blades, that cut the produce up, and on initial cutting or crushing, the juice will then get extracted out of this stainless steel juicing screen compared with the nylon press cloth on that guy. And the first stage right here on the initial crush has nice large holes, and as the produce works its way down the auger, it gets basically ground up or squeezed out more and more, and this has a finer set of holes. All at the same time, we have this outside piece, which is known as the automatic wiping blade, and it's actually spinning around. And the job that this does is has like a silicone wiping blades, and that keeps the screen clean, so you're gonna, you know, get the most amount of yield. And then the juice comes out one spout here that has a flap on it, so you can prevent drips on your counter. And the pulp comes out over on this side, and on the bottom of this, there's a little pulp flap. So the job of the pulp flap is to actually keep the pulp in there until it's fully wrung out and dry, until it lets it come out. So that's how that works. In general, you know, another factor that's important for people is also the noise level. So in this instance, between this guy and this guy, I would definitely say the VSJ843 is much quieter. I mean, we could go ahead and turn that on for you guys to share with you guys which is louder and which is more quiet. So this is the VSJ843 turning on. Runs at a nice low and slow RPM. Over on this side, let's go ahead and turn this guy on. It's fairly louder, and then when you start to cut with the cutter, you know, it does make increases the noise level, although the press is pretty virtually silent aside from the motor noise that you will be hearing. So that's pretty much how the juicers work and how they sound. The next thing is we're going to go ahead and juice the pomegranates. So these are the pomegranates here. What I've carefully done is actually I've scored the outside of the pomegranate 5 times, and I cut it in half, and then I basically tap out with a stick all the pomegranate areoles. So I probably did about 6 fruits this morning, made like 2 pounds of pomegranate areoles. I've then carefully teared out my scale and weighed out 1 pound of pomegranate areoles in each of these jars that we will now juice in each of these machines here. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and juice in the Omega VSJ843, show you guys how easy it is we're literally going to turn this guy on, take this up over the feed chute, and just dump these in a little bit at a time. And as you guys can see, we got the pomegranate juice coming out right there, and we got the pomegranate, basically the seeds and the outer coating coming out on that side. Now, because this works a little bit differently than the pure juicer or the two-stage press, you know, we're going to get a little bit different extraction. So, you know, like if we just press out the aerials, we're going to get a pretty you know, dark colored juice. This one's going to be a little bit lighter because if we look at the pulp, which I'll give you guys a close-up later, is actually this machine's actually grinding up the seeds and extracting nutrition from the seeds and putting it into the juice for you guys. So the seeds, many seeds are sources of some fat, so this will give you the juice a more full body texture. In addition, you know, seeds like grape seeds have things like pycnogenol or very powerful anthocyanidins, which are basically really powerful antioxidants that can be helpful with inflammation and other things. So, you know, machines such as the Pure, which basically don't really grind up the seeds to this extent, you know, and put it in the juice through large holes in the screen, are not going to extract the level of nutrition, in my opinion, you know, as the machine over here. So as you guys can see, that was relatively quick and easy and painless to juice in the Omega VSJ843. We're going to go ahead and turn this guy off, and next we're going to go ahead and focus on juicing them in the Pure. Alright, so to juice pomegranates in the Pure, it's a little bit more involved. You know, it's not as easy as dumping them in. We're basically going to have a plate here. We're going to move these palms out to the side there. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take our press cloth. So we have a press cloth here. We're going to go ahead and lie this on the plate. And basically we're going to fold this up. We're going to make an imaginary tic-tac-toe pattern on the press cloth and then fold this over into a pulp pack. So we're going to go ahead and first and take a bunch of these palm aerials, and I don't know how many we could fit. Maybe we'll try to fit like half the jar approximately, so like 8 ounces. We're going to center them up right in the middle and try to make like make a flat sandwich out of them so it'll easily fit in to the press. And you don't want too big of a pulp pack or the pomegranate aerials, because then you're going to get juice overspray. So you don't want this too large, so we're going to go ahead and pull this in, pull that in pretty tight there. We're going to go ahead and fold this up, basically folding it like we'd wrap a sandwich up at the deli. And there we go. So it looks like we folded it up into one nice pack of palm aerials. We're going to go ahead and set that down right in the middle of the tray. Next, we're going to go ahead and take another press cloth. And one of the things I like about the press, the Pure juicer cold press, is that you could juice, like if you're juicing carrots, you could get 32 ounces of juice in one pressing. So I mean, in some cases, like the speed at which you're juicing will be faster in the press than one of these guys, depending on what juicer or slow juicer you're using. I mean, the VSJ can't have challenges with juicing things like carrots, and the motor will stop on you, so you're going to have to sit there and reverse it and stuff. So I'm not doing a time test because, you know, time is money for many people. But for me, it's more important on like the ease of use. And to me, personally, you know, I'm getting my hands dirty. I have to like mess with the press bags and whatnot. I'd rather do this task actually in the VSJ. But let's see how this works. So we're going to go ahead and fold this over. And then we're going to go ahead and fold this over once again. So now we have a nice pack of, another pack of the palm aerials. And we're going to go ahead and put that right in the middle there, centered up. And that looks pretty good. Now that we got all the palm aerials in there, now is the fun part. We're going to go ahead and get to press it out. We're going to turn this machine on. And there's a little lever here that lets you go down or up. We're going to go ahead and let this go up. Now this press over other presses on the market has many different, this two-stage hydraulic press has many advantages over others. Let's go ahead and take a look at the juice coming out. I'm going to slow this down a little bit just to make sure that I don't get any overspray. Alright, check this out. We got a nice stream of pomegranate juice coming out. The cool thing about this press is that there's no 10-second rule like some other presses on the market. You literally have to like stop the press after 10 seconds. This you have unlimited pressing time now. At a certain point there's like a point of no return, so like you can sit there and let it press and press and press for 10 minutes and you might, like I'm getting now, just a drip, 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 drip. Basically you want to press until the stream breaks. So you know the stream is broken because it's just dripping at this point. So we're going to go ahead and let this down, and maybe I'll try to reposition the bags and see if we can get more out. So what I'll do is I'll maybe fold this bag over in a force and see if we could squeeze some more juice out of the pulp here. Alright, let this go up a little bit slowly. You don't want to bust your press bag there. So now we got full pressure on this guy. As you guys can see, we're even getting more juice out of that by double pressing. And once again, you can triple press, quadruple press, but at a certain point, right, it's a point of diminishing returns where you actually won't make any more juice out of the press. So we're going to go ahead and let that guy down. We're going to go ahead and double press that second pack there. Alright, there we go. Even getting more juice out of that press pack as well. And pretty much the stream broke. It's still just kind of dripping. I mean, we could let it sit there for another 10 minutes. I doubt we're going to get significant amounts of any more juice out than that. So let's go ahead and let this guy down, and we're going to go ahead and turn this machine off. I've noticed there's like a high-pitched kind of squeal or hum. I don't know if you guys noticed that. To me, that's a little bit annoying. Turn that guy off now. And let's see, tip that down. Let's be getting more drips off that. And once again, tip this guy up a little bit. Close that guy off. Now I want to show you guys the results of the pulp here. So first we're going to go ahead and take the pulp out of the pure juicer and show you guys what that looks like. Basically what you're seeing is basically devastated pomegranate areoles. You can see that these were once pomegranate areoles. I got the bejeebies squished out of them. This is not a place that you'd want to be. And it squeezed out literally all the juice. I mean, this is pretty daggone dry, right? Now let's go ahead and compare that to the Omega VSJ pulp and show you guys the difference in the pulp. So I mean, this is the VSJ pulp. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's literally unrecognizable. Now you could say, but John, to be a fair comparison, you should have ran this through the triturator and then put it through. And yes, while that would grind up some of the seeds to some extent, a lot of the seed groundness would still be retained, in my opinion, by the press cloth because of the holes are so small. In addition, this would be very messy, in my opinion. You know, I mean, I was juicing carrots in this guy the other day through the press, and it was splattering carrots. And if I put the pomegranate arrows that are high water content through there, I mean, it would shoot a lot of liquid everywhere, and that would actually do a lot of juicing. And then trying to put that mixture in here, it would have been messy, and I wouldn't even want to attempt doing that, right? You could do that if you want to, but to me, as you guys saw the process and which one really was more effective at grinding up these guys, it was a VSJ. Now, on carrots, it's going to be totally flipped around. You know, this guy's probably more efficient at carrots and getting some nutrients out and getting a higher yield for sure. But let's take a look at the juices next. So let's go ahead and take a look at the juices next. Here are the two juices. I'm going to go ahead and hold those up for you guys. Real quick though, what I want to do, we got some separation since we juiced in the VSJ first. since we got a little bit more fat content in there, we're going to go ahead and mix that up a little bit. We'll do the same with the pure juice press also. And take a look at the difference. You guys see the difference in the colors there? Now, which one to you guys looks more nutritious? Yes, this one is definitely darker, but this one looks a lot more like full body. Because, I mean, once again, it ground up the seeds and put nutrition from the seeds into the juice, whereas this one, you know, it's not, you can't see through it, it's pretty dark, but it doesn't look quite as nutritious. Now, the biggest thing is, you know, people always say, the press is the best, it makes the highest yield. Well, let's take a look at, in this situation, how much yield each of these juicers made. Alright, so on the left side we got the pure juice. Let's take a look at that one first. Looks like we got about 1 1/4 cups of juice right there, about 10 ounces. And if we go over to the Omega VSJ side, looks like we got 8 ounce mark right there. We got 1 cup, 1 1/4 cup mark is right there, and we got a little bit more juice than 1 1/4 cups. And yeah, so as you guys can see, the VSJ actually made more juice than the 5.5 times to 6 times more expensive pure juicer. So you guys just saw that actually the VSJ made more yield than the press. How is this possible? Well, you know, in my opinion, that's possible because literally the VSJ added some of the juice from the seeds. And in this case, it was more effective at pressing out the juice in this instance with this item. So in many cases, but not all, I think mainly this will happen with fruits, leafy greens, and sprouts. You know, something like a slow juicer may be superior than the good old standby press, and in my opinion, in some situations actually make even a higher nutrition. Now, the next thing I want to say besides the nutrition, which is probably the paramount and most important factor for me, because I'm on this juicing and healthy lifestyle so that I could disease-proof myself. And we're only going to be able to disease-proof ourselves by getting rid of the junk foods, the animal foods in excess, processed foods, things in a package. You know, getting rid of those foods and increasing the healthy plant-based foods you eat, but not any just plant foods. You know, the high antioxidant, phytochemical, and phyto-rich plant foods, you know, such as the fruits and the vegetables, and when you can extract the juice out of them, you can concentrate the nutrition and get the nutrition out of all the areas of the food, including, you know, the fruit area as well as the seed, which in many cases is high in antioxidants, and in some cases, you know, they say certain seeds have laetrile, which is anti-cancer. So that'd be good and all, but the thing is, some things you could juice could taste really bad, so I want to go ahead and taste the juice and let you guys know how each one of these tastes. So first, of course, in the pure juicer here, here's the juice. I mean, this is a clear texture. It's almost as fine as water. There's that guy. And now we're going to go ahead and pour out the juice from the VSJ. This is a little bit more milky, a little bit more thick, you know, kind of like if you guys ever made a homemade nut milk. It's like this texture. It's a little more viscous or a little bit thicker, or less viscous. It's a little bit thicker than this guy, which is more watery. First, I'll go ahead and try the pure juice made with a press. It's sweet. I got the astringent bite of the pomegranate. You know, drinking straight pomegranate juice for many of you guys is not probably something you'd want to do, but it's extremely healthy for you. I mean, mouthfeel wise, I get the pucker thing, but it has a really good flavor, neutral taste. You know, it's a little bit, I don't know if the word's tart, a little bit tart. Let's go ahead and try the VSJ juice. Once again, it's a little bit lighter in color, probably because of the influence of the seed. Wow, that's significantly different. This is the juice that I would rather drink all day. So this guy was like kind of a little bit tart to me, and you had that pucker aspect. Because we added some fat, because it extracted the nutrition from the seeds, You know, this is a lot more balanced. You got the tartness, but then you got the sweetness and fattiness of the seeds, which then really balances out and mellows out the juice all together. And it just really makes this much more enjoyable in my opinion. Wow. You guys got to get a VSJ to try the pomegranate juice in the vertical slow juicers. Simply amazing. And as you guys can see, this didn't clog up or jam up. This is a second generation vertical auger juicers. Not all vertical auger juicers will juice pomegranates like this, because a lot of them I find actually don't do good enough job grinding up the seeds and getting it into the juice like the VSJ843 did in this episode. So I mean, that will bring me to the conclusion of this episode, where I will name the winner of this juice off comparison. And in this juice off comparison between the pure cold press 2-stage hydraulic press and the Omega VSJ843, I'm going to have to declare the winner. The Omega VSJ843. Not only does it run at 80 times slower speed than the triturator part, not only is it 5 to 6 times less expensive, but it produced a higher quality of juice, in my opinion, by my taste buds. Also produced higher quantity of juice as well. Now, once again, you know, your results will vary depending on the produce being juiced. And I look forward to the day that different manufacturers come out with actually data on nutrition made with each of the different kinds of slow juicers against the press, to really find out what are the phytochemicals and phytonutrients, what are the vitamins and minerals, and how much yields, you know, done by third-party testing, so that people can see the truths about all this. Because until then, I just have my taste buds, and I have the produce, I have the juicers to test for you guys, to share with you guys my results. So if you want to juice palms, VSJ843 is definitely the way to go and my pick. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, I want to encourage you guys to support me and my work by making your purchase at discountjuicers.com. I want to thank all you guys that have made your purchase in the past for me, and all you guys that will make your purchase in the future. Your purchase at discountjuicers.com allows me to continue to make these videos, to share my insights about health, nutrition, and juicing that I've learned now over the last 21 years since I started in 1995. And also be sure to check the links down below if you want to purchase these machines or get more information about them. They are both available at discountjuicers.com. And finally, I want to encourage you guys to subscribe to my videos. You can click that subscribe button right down below. You'll be notified of my new and upcoming episodes. I have new and upcoming episodes coming out about every 5 to 7 days. Stay tuned for future episodes where we'll be comparing the pure juice press to other kind of juicers, other slow juicers on the market. And also be sure to check my past episodes. I have over 400 episodes now, comparing, contrasting, and sharing with you guys all different juicers. I will put a link down below to a video I did specifically on the pure juice press as well. And also be sure to like this video if you liked it. I'll be sure to do more videos with the pure juicer in the future if I get enough likes on this video, comparing it and contrasting it, juicing different things and different items, to show you guys the full range of capabilities that it has. So once again, my name is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Be sure to visit DiscountJuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and what we're going to do today is get to compare two juicers against each other, head to head, in this juice off spectacular. So the juicers that we have today are the Omega NC800, which is... Alright, here's an outtake. So I thought I'd rejuice the pulp that came out of the pure, and see if the Omega VSJ will grind up the seeds and get any more juice out of it. So I've just put the seeds in here from one pulp pack, and you know, there's a few drifts, so it actually looks like the pure was actually fairly effective at extracting all the juice. Let's go ahead and put the pulp from this pack in as well. Alright, there we go. Oh, now there's so much pulp that the Omega just stopped because it doesn't have enough torque, and this will really be a problem with carrots, you could hear the motor kind of buzzing. So we got to back it up and turn it forward again. And we're going to have to do this a number of times because I overloaded the machine. Oh, and I heard something snap and break. Alright, as you guys can see, the VSJ is taking that the pressings from the Pure and literally extracting more juice. Now, this is definitely hard on the juicer, and I do not recommend you guys rejuice pulp. You know, that's so dry. I think this may cause damage to the Omega, but this is a testament to really how powerful it is when juicing the pomegranate aerials. Yeah, I mean, I got like maybe like one more spoonful of juice, which isn't much, so it's definitely not worth doing this.